Hey everyone, welcome back to Cosmic Life Astrology. Today we are talking about the week of September 23rd through the 29th. I hope you all are hanging in there while we are in the middle of eclipse season. I know I had every intention on making a part 2 for the eclipse last week, but what ended up happening is a lot of people came to me and were asking me what the heck is going on, and talking to me about a lot of intense things that were suddenly coming up in their life, and I got drained and I ended up getting sick. I'm still very froggy, but I couldn't do it. I really wanted to, because there was so much to talk about with the eclipse. There's so many energies that were active with it. But we'll focus on this week. We have a little bit of a reprieve in between now and the next eclipse in Libra. So, with the eclipse window, it can be intense regardless of the other astrology that's going on. It's very intense lunar energy. And, we're on the heels of a super full moon lunar eclipse that happened last week, and approaching, that solar eclipse that's going to be happening next week. And so, that energy plays out for a while. With lunar eclipses, we could see things start building up like a month or two before, and even play out, a month or two after the eclipse. And with solar eclipses, we're talking about things that usually get a kickstart during the time of the eclipse or shortly after, and it really gets that boost in that first few months after the eclipse. They can play out for about 6 months, but these are all cycles, and whatever is happening in your world, they are meant for your evolution. If there's things that you need to evolve from in your life, eclipses are a way of nudging you to the next level, the next chapter, whatever the case may be for you. That's what it's meant to do. It's not meant to be fear-mongering or, do things that are tumultuous and, bring upheaval in a negative way. It may bring some rocky ground and upheaval, but it's meant to bring you in the right direction. So I digress. Let's focus on the week ahead. We have a week that is filled with a lot of Mercury, Moon, Mars energy. So there is more personal planets at play this week. We still have the Uranus, Pluto, Neptune connections that are still being made, but we're not going to talk about that because I've talked about it in other videos. That's going on in the background, that finishing of a chapter, that, evolution energy is really from those outer planets. The eclipses are just pushing you, hey, you really need to do this. You're not doing it quick enough, whatever it is. So while that's going on in the background, we have a few energies changing signs this week. We have the sun that is moving into Libra as I tape this. We have Venus entering Scorpio and Mercury entering Libra. So the energies are shifting. Now, Venus in Scorpio is not as strong as she is when she's at home in Libra. And same thing with Mercury going into Libra. He's not as strong as he normally is in Virgo or Gemini. So even though, they are changing signs, they are not as potent as they can be, right? and yet they're still very active with the sky. So Monday we see Mercury starting to make an opposition to Neptune in Pisces, and this can bring a questioning of what is real and what's just an illusion, right? Because Mercury is in Virgo, very much focused on what's tangible, what's real, the facts, the cold, hard truth. And Neptune can be very visionary and caught up in fantasy and very dreamy. Sorry. There could be conversations that cause some confusion as well with this opposition, where things aren't as clear. You may need to talk through the details and really ask for more information. This opposition will play out for, really the opposition will play out for most of the week, because even when Mercury enters Libra, when it's in that first few degrees of Libra, it's still going to be, in that opposition aspect to Neptune. So it's pretty interesting how it plays out. It's like, Mercury in its home sign making an opposition to Neptune in its home sign, and then Mercury moves to Libra, different energy, right? Different conversation. Now Mercury is having conversations about balancing the scales, conversations about relationships, and it's opposing Neptune. So it's like the conversation keeps going, but it's shifting focus. Now, when we get to Tuesday, Venus in Scorpio is going to make a trine to the moon in Cancer. And I don't talk about the moon transits as much unless it's, like a full moon or an eclipse. But I wanted to mention this because there's a lot of trines involved this week. The moon is very much involved in a lot of them. Venus trining the moon is very harmonious. It's an opportunity to get in touch with what you're feeling, get in touch with those deep emotions that you have, because Venus in Scorpio is very deep. It's very sensual. And with the moon in Cancer, we could be really tapping into our intuition. We could be tapping into our emotions and what makes us feel, what fuels our fire, our internal fire, our internal passions and, our desires. And it's interesting that this is playing out while that whole Mercury opposed Neptune aspect is at play, because we may be scared to talk about our desires. We may be a little nervous about acting upon our desires as well. Now, on Tuesday, we also have the Sun in Libra make a square to the moon in Cancer. So again, focus on Sun in Libra relationships. Square to moon in Cancer, our emotions, our intuition. And so, with Venus and Scorpio making the trine to the moon, and at the same time, the Sun in Libra is making a square to the moon, this further backs up my feeling that, there's a sense of tapping into what your desires are in your relationships. And if you're not in one, what you desire to have in a relationship. And there may be some tension, some challenge that comes along with that. And you may feel with a square Sun square moon, you may feel kind of deflated or maybe discouraged, or there could be like a wondering, is this really, especially with the opposition between Mercury and Neptune, it could be like, is it really logical for me to be thinking this and wanting this and desiring this? If it comes to a relationship, you could be saying to yourself, I really want a partner who is all these things. We have all these experiences together. They're my best friend, and they're loyal and they're funny and my family loves them and so forth and so on, whatever your dream relationship is. And there could be something that may be, making you question, do you really think the perfect relationship exists? Yes, by the way, it can. Nothing is perfect, but your perfect partner is out there. The person you're supposed to spend your life with is out there. So during this time, if you're feeling those emotions of questioning, like whether your desires are truly something that is tangible or whether it's just a fantasy, I would say whatever you focus on is tangible. We also see Mercury making a trine to Uranus and Taurus. So we could have some information or news or conversation that comes in that's surprising, which further makes me feel this energy of, is this real? Is this not? Is this just a fantasy? Or, is this really tangible, something that I can have and hold on to? It could be very, very unexpected when you have Mercury trining Uranus. They're both, Mercury is the lower mind, Uranus is the higher mind. So this could be, an intuitive kind of spark that happens. But I do think because they're both in earth signs, there will be actual conversations taking place that may be disruptive, may be shocking. They're, and on a collective scale, this could be news that we see happening on Tuesday that's really like, oh my God, I would have never thought that would happen. It may be weather related because they're both in earth signs as well. And we have Mercury and Virgo still opposing Neptune and Pisces. So if there's something in the news, whether there's news about some kind of weather situation, there could be, issues with water with that opposition to Neptune. Neptune's very watery. Moving on to Wednesday, we see the moon conjunct Mars in Cancer at 12 degrees. And so this could make us take action based off of our intuition, based off of our emotion. Mars is not strong in Cancer, but Mars does initiate action. And in Cancer, he's doing it based off of his intuition and his feelings. And when the moon joins up with it, it's more ignited by those, intuitive and emotional feelings. And when this happens, they also make a trine to Saturn and Pisces. It's not exact on Wednesday. It will be exact on Sunday, but this energy will play out throughout the week with Mars trining Saturn. So when the moon and Mars conjunct and they're starting, they're a couple of degrees, it's 2 degrees away from Saturn and Pisces in that trine aspect, there's a need to take action for stability, right, with Saturn, or making your actions disciplined or structured or very much focused on long term. We also have Mercury making a trine to Pluto and Uranus. So this is definitely, a lot of conversations could be had, a lot of information could be getting shared that is helping facilitate change when we're talking about a trine to Pluto and a trine to Uranus. Pluto and Uranus both want changes, and they've been connected with each other for quite some time. And so Mercury in Virgo is saying, hey, I'm about to leave Virgo and, move on to Libra, and I really need to get these details finalized. I really need to firm things up, put the last, signature on the paper before I can move on, And we have Jupiter making a sextile to Chiron. So, that healing aspect that's been going on all year with Chiron and Aries, especially, Jupiter is giving that faith and that optimism that, it's okay. You've done a lot of work on yourself. Everything's going to be okay. It's very supportive, Jupiter sextiling Chiron. It's like giving us that, that optimism that you need to know that when one door closes, another one is there to open. And, you know, if there's shakeups that happen, this could be, you know, that much needed support to know that things are going to work out in whatever is happening in your life. As long as you stay true to who you are, Chiron and Aries, be mindful of your healing journey and honor where you've done the work on yourself, and tap into your wisdom with Jupiter. What lessons have you learned on that healing journey? And Juno is starting to make a trine to Jupiter. It's gonna be a while before that perfects, but it's about 5 degrees away. So I'm including it because I like Juno. Juno, I've been, you know, talking about sporadically throughout the year because Juno has been part of the conversation, which is very interesting because we've had the nodes in the relationship axis, you know, how we honor ourselves and how we honor others. And Juno being in Libra has really had that focus on how we relate to others and what our relationships require of us, and what relationships we want to commit to, what relationships do we feel serve a purpose in our life and are in line with what we need from a partner. And on Wednesday, we also have the Moon and Mars making a square to Juno. At least it's starting. And so this is, you know, there may be some changes that are taking place with that Mercury trine Pluto, trine Uranus, where Moon and Mars in Cancer are looking at, okay, I'm in the middle of changing this. I'm taking these actions. And it may cause a disturbance or some kind of need to make a compromise with those relationships, or, you know, make some kind of change with a square aspect that's challenging, that causes tension that causes you to make changes, causes you to compromise where things need to be compromised. And then when we move on to Thursday, Mercury enters Libra. So now Mercury's conversations are more relationship focused, more about having that balance, and, you know, however that balance needs to be, whether it's, you know, balancing your thoughts and the way you're communicating with people, maybe setting up boundaries where they're needed, maybe, you know, having conversations with new partners, old partners about, you know, things that are ending or beginning. You know, there's very much a lot of things coming to culmination to prepare us for new beginnings. So depending on whether you're already done closing up a chapter in your life and you're already ready for something new to come in, it really, you know, that really is gonna depend on, you know, how it plays out for you, where you're at in your journey. But the moon also is making a sextile to Uranus and Taurus. So now we're talking, you know, the moon will be in Cancer, sorry. So now, you know, again, we're tapping into our emotions, into our intuition. And with that sextile to Uranus, you know, we're feeling comfortable with the changes that are taking place. We're, you know, supported by what we value and honoring those. You know, Taurus loves to really have tangible values, really likes the finer things in life, and Cancer loves to feel safe, loves to have a place to rest its head. And this will also make a trine to Neptune and Pisces. So with the moon trining Neptune, sextiling Uranus, you know, we could really have an opportunity to really be in tune with our spiritual side, really be in tune with even our dream life, and also have that that spiritual support, that intuitive, you know, nudges from the universe possibly, that really let us know that, you know, you're going in the right direction. But be mindful with the moon trining Neptune. You know, you could be a little too caught up in maybe your emotions. You know, if you see that you are feeling a lot of emotions, with the moon trining Neptune in Pisces, this could be where you get caught up in your emotions and you can't, you know, you get a little too, I just can't help but think of, what was that movie with the nanny, where she comes in on an umbrella? Oh my God, Mary Poppins. Oh, hello. So I just got this image of Mary Poppins, you know, just flying down from the sky with her umbrella. And if you feel on Thursday that your emotions are kind of like, and your visions are getting ahead of you, you have to have that umbrella to like help bring you back down to flat ground, especially with Uranus and Taurus, very grounded. So this way you don't, like, you know, kind of, as I say very frequently on this channel and in my personal life, get lost in the sauce. You know, try to just have a very grounded approach with that sextile to Uranus and Taurus, because the moon trining Neptune could have you really overinflating things, or overly emotional. Your intuition and your spiritual side could be really like opening you up, and it could be overwhelming. So you do have to ground your energy. On Friday, we will see Mercury in Libra make a trine to Pluto and Capricorn, still playing out with that trine to Pluto and Uranus. You know, this combination is really playing out all week. It's just that Mercury changes signs, so the energy shifts a little bit. You know, so again, having conversations about relationships, making changes with that connection to Pluto and Capricorn and the connection to Uranus, and, you know, talking about what needs to change, what needs to, you know, what do you need to compromise on to make something work for, you know, that's fair for both people involved. Especially when we're talking about Libra. You know, Libra wants the scales balanced and everything to be equal. So there could be some conversations about, you know, how to make things fair and equal for everyone involved, while honoring the changes that are taking place, the things that may be closing out. Mars will be starting its trine to Saturn on Friday as well. This will perfect on Sunday. And so, you know, Mars is in Cancer, you know, and he previously squared the nodes. So he was already under pressure with that square to the nodes to take action. And with the trine to Saturn, now Mars is going to take action that is for the long term. Okay. And with Mars in Cancer trining Saturn in Pisces, we're talking about very fluid emotional energy. You know, so the actions that Mars is taking, he's taking it because he feels this is what I need to do for myself, or this is what I feel I need to do for my family. This is what I, you know, am feeling is going to bring me peace and comfort in my life. And there's strategy that could be involved, or discipline that is needed. There could be boundaries. You know, Saturn in Pisces could be teaching you on how to have healthy boundaries. You know, it doesn't mean you have to block people out completely, but how to have healthy boundaries, because Pisces has no boundaries and Saturn does. And so, you know, there could be a need to implement boundaries during this time while Mars is taking action in Cancer. We still see Jupiter sextiling Chiron, giving us that faith, that optimism to keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Everything's going to work out. You know, stay true to, you know, where you've come from, the lessons you've learned. And we see the moon in Leo, which is really lightening up the mood. The moon in Leo wants to have fun and wants to, really enjoy the company of others. And the moon in Leo on Saturday will make a trine to Chiron in Aries. So it could be very healing to be around other people during this weekend. There could be a lot of happy emotions, that, bring you some peace while you're, with family, with friends, whoever. And at the same time, both the moon and Chiron will be in that sextile to Jupiter. So this is, even further supporting that optimism, that faith, that very opportunistic and, happy-go-lucky, adventurous spirit that Jupiter has. And this could also be passionate emotions that bring some kind of healing, that can bring some kind of relief and optimism, like, oh, thank God, like I was starting to question whether, this was going to happen, or, whatever this is for you in your personal life. There could be emotions that do bring some peace and healing to the mix. And on Sunday, we will see Mercury will be about a degree away from the South Node and the Sun in Libra. And, Mercury, Sun, and South Node conjuncting each other. Man, the first thing that I thought, honestly, was this could be a person coming back from the past. I know it's not Mercury retrograde, but with Mercury in Libra, which is all about relationships, conjuncting the South Node, the past, and the Sun, which represents solar, people, whether it's males, authority figures. This, for me, just intuitively, when I saw this, I said, I think someone's going to come back from the past. Because solar figures are important figures in your life. Mercury represents people. It could be a younger person with Mercury, but this conjunction, if it's not something, or if it's not someone coming back from the past, it could be a conversation from the past that comes up again. And this could have to do with a relationship. Maybe you met someone a while ago and you lost touch, and, they contact you and they want to pick up where you left off. It could be that kind of energy. Or there could be, say, some kind of agreement that you've been working on where you have to readdress something that was brought up in the past before you can finalize things, right? And Mars officially makes its trine to Saturn in Pisces. So again, taking discipline action, having your eyes on the long term, and what's going to bring stability and safety when we're talking about Saturn and Mars and Cancer. And so this is the nuts and bolts of this week. There's a lot of Mercury energy. There's a lot of moon energy. And we have, Pluto and Uranus, being involved in these conversations. So it's a very mixed bag of, conversations that need to be had, things finishing up. And, like, I can't help it. I feel like I've been saying it for so long, because I've been seeing it transpire over quite some time. But we're really being told to clean things up, to finish things out, whatever chapters you're closing, whatever projects you're working on that you're finishing up, any contracts or agreements that you have to come to, relationships, whatever it is for you, whatever is closing out, we're being told, okay, come on, get it done. We have this new thing ready for you. Like, you need to get this done before you can go off to the new thing. So, excuse me. And, we have very much, a lot of this happening repeatedly before big lunar events, especially. So we see this playing out right before we have that solar eclipse, major new beginnings, right? So we're constantly being supported by the universe to, take certain inspired action, to take, advantage of certain energies at play before some of the bigger energies come in and force our hand, right? Or before, you know, we have something new come to our awareness that we're going to be spending some time on. So I love when things line up like that, because it means, you know, this is what we're all being guided to do. It has a purpose. And we just have to, you know, navigate this one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, because, you know, we're all in this together. So I hope that eclipse season has not been too rocky for you guys. You know, and I say that genuinely. I know, though, that it can be very rocky for a lot of you. And I just want you all to know, you will get through it, and the changes that may be going on in your life, they're meant to evolve you into, you know, new territory that's, you know, better for your growth and your journey. And just hang in there. You know, it's like being on a roller coaster. You don't know exactly what to expect, but when you get off that roller coaster, you're like, okay, now I feel okay. I'm calm. You know, I made it. So grin and bear, hang in there, stay positive. And if you like this video and you're not subscribed to my channel already, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, share your comments. I do respond to all of them. And if you have questions, I will, you know, answer them the best that I can. And I will be back with another video next week. Have a great week, everyone.